on chapter 10, The Master with the Brahmo Devotees, part 2. And it's April 22nd, 1883. And all of this, if you're just tuning in, is from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, a book about the life of Sri Ramakrishna by one of his disciples, M. All right. Sri Ramakrishna paid a visit to Beni Madhav Pal's garden house at Sinthi near Calcutta on the occasion of the semi-annual festival of the Brahmo Samaj. Many devotees of the Samaj were present and sat around the master. Now and then, some of them asked him questions. Now, if you're new and don't know, the Brahmo Samaj was just a spiritual movement, a religious movement in Calcutta around the turn of the century. And I don't have an official word on it, but from all the reading and stuff that I've heard over the years in the order, I've put together a little bit that it seemed to me, and again, I'm not going to make this official, but they were kind of a reformist movement within Hinduism, doing away with child marriage and, caste, and they worshipped only the formless God. And they seemed to meet in somewhat of a Christian style on a weekly basis, and did their practices and whatnot in that way. And Ramakrishna was friends with one of the leaders of the Brahmo Samaj, and so we read a lot about them. He seems to have quite a bit of respect for them, and vice versa. Although there are a few good stories in there of some issues here and there to keep things entertaining, of course, all the way through. And so here he is again with them at their celebration about the Brahmo Samaj. And a Brahmo devotee just raises his hand and says, "Sir, what is the way?" The master: attachment to God, or in other words, love for him. And secondly, prayer. Brahmo devotee: well, which one is the way, love or prayer? The master: first love, and then prayer. The master saying, cry to your mother Shyama with a real cry, O mind. And how can she hold herself from you? How can Shyama stay away? You see, this is a beautiful, I love this little section right here, because there's so many perfect things in there, and really do point the way to the divine. So love, we know, is the one most important thing. And every day at the end of the day, we should look back and say, did my day demonstrate that love is the one most important thing to me? That we must keep this in the front of our mind. And then the beautiful thing in here is this idea of attachment to God, because we know that attachment is identity. You know, that when it is something that you believe comes from yourself, something that is you. And so this call for attachment to God is not just a call to like God or to think about God, but to identify with God, so that God's will is your will. That's identity. You don't think, oh, that's God's will, let me do it. You're so in tune with the divine. You are how to say that? You are in enough of a relationship with the divine that you know the thoughts, you know what's right. Right? And you are deeply connected, deeply identified. God's thought is my thought. God's will is my will. Not I, but thou. Not I, but thou. Not I, but thou. St. Paul with Jesus. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And that's coming to realization. It's not that we've superimposed God onto ourselves. We've done the opposite. We've superimposed our ego ideas upon God, upon the presence of God, and identified with ego, attached to ego. And so we can maintain that same attachment, but take it off of the false, the unreal, and put it on the real, the fact that Satchitananda, that love, wisdom, existence within you, God, is the true you. And so we're given full permission here. Attach to God deeply, to this idea of love, wisdom, and being, as being the only thing that drives you and your desires. And so he says, attach yourself to God. In other words, love for him. And secondly, prayer. Secondly is that communion, that enjoying the presence, building that relationship with the divine. And again, it starts out talking, and then it moves to half sentences as you get to know each other and have spoken to each other for many years. And then it becomes silence, where you already have told all of your stories. You've done your discernment. Things have begun. The delusions have thinned and diminished. And now this wonderful song of bliss that is always playing within is your abode. And you sit there established, maybe in your older age, unable to move, smiling blissfully for no reason whatsoever discernible to anybody else but you. And in that state, he sings this song, "Cry to your mother Shyama with a real cry, O mind, with a sincere and earnest cry, a longing for God." And that comes through the repetition of God's name. How? Because the repetition of God's name is indirectly a constant manifesting of love within your mind and self. And so by constantly singing the name of God, singing the wonders of God, and that constant ongoing, unending prayer within to the presence that is our very life, our very existence is the presence. And so it's being aware of that, keeping that awareness alive. And in that call, in that relationship, Thakur says, how can Mother Shyama stay away? How can God stay away from you? How can God stay away from you? You are her very own. She has created you. She has played your mind. She has enjoyed your life and your struggle and your love. She cannot stay away, has never been away. We always have this illusion that somehow we come to God and, now and we're trying to unite with that. But the fact is, all of that's already done. We just don't acknowledge it because of the blindness and ego. So we don't see it. But Mother Shyama is always present and always manifested in you. It's just having the eyes to see. That's one of the reasons that Jesus, every time he starts a parable, says, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Or "He who has eyes to see, let him see." Every time not every time, but many times when he was giving a teaching and started a parable, he would say it that way. And he's talking to us, to the devotees, to the lovers of God. He who has eyes, meaning those inner eyes of truth, those eyes trained on the heart, that knows the separation from body and mind. That inner eye, is opened, and we can see. And the inner ear, that which knows truth, that is tuned to the self before ego, that is the ear to hear. So when those eyes and those ears are listening and seeing, truth is told, truth is seen, truth is learned. Continuing, the master said, "And one must always chant the name and glories of God and pray to him." So always at this moment in the back of your mind, should be the chanting of the name of God. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And it can happen anytime. I've been working really hard lately at getting it going, at times when it wasn't usual, when I'm laying there falling asleep, to try and get the name of God going. And, in the morning when I'm doing my morning routine, to keep the name of God going. And, if I dare to look in the mirror in the morning, to try and look into my own eyes and try and recognize the beloved there, to try and see the establishment of this divinity within. And so we go on like this. We carry on. An old metal pot must be scrubbed every day. So you're an old metal pot. So you old metal pots out there, all of you old worn out kitchenware, polish yourselves every day with the name of the beloved. Just like Hafiz says, every time you utter the name of God, it's like pouring your soul through cheesecloth. It's purified just a little bit each time. What is the use of cleaning it only once, right? I've got a stack in the kitchen right now that have been cleaned only once, and they're in the sink. And they're unusable until I clean them again. So this is our approach. We never give up. We are tenacious, if nothing else, in our love for the divine, in our quest for this seeing, for this relationship. So we never give up, no matter how many times we failed, no matter how dark it seems, no matter how long the road seems, no matter how impossible it seems, because that final realization is a gift. It's not a result. And so you never know when it's coming, and every bit of your effort, we saw in the verse that I shared in that vlog yesterday, that your effort, your struggle itself is your worship. Vivekananda says that your struggle in life, your efforts to be holy, to know God, to show love, every effort that you make is seen from God's perspective as worship. There's a great deal of joy in that worship. And so even in that, even if you haven't seen the bells and the whistles, the blisses and the sounds, no despair. See your own effort and enjoy the worship, because it implies the presence of the beloved in you. It implies the tenacity of God's own love for you. Further, one must practice discernment, discrimination, and renunciation. One must be conscious of the unreality of the world. Right? We've talked about that much. The unreality of the world is the fact that it is God. But we see it as trees and mountains and peoples and countries and whatnots. What's unreal is the way what we think the world is. And we have to be aware of that constantly. We have to be aware that we do not see things as they are. And so our mental understanding is quite skewed most of the time, which is why we're so often confused and so often frustrated by things, because we can't see it the way that it is. But you can close your eyes and you can lay down and in silence know that you are embraced in love. All of the light in the world, the physical light, is a direct manifestation of love. It is equivalent to the love of God. It is what gives everything life. That big old sun up there brings life to everything. And so we know. So we have to constantly keep the pot clean. Don't let ourselves be pulled away little by little, because that's how it happens, is little by little. You make one small concession to your ego, to your body, and then it makes the second one much easier, and then the third one much easier. And each time, you just get taken a little bit more and more away, and pretty soon you start realizing you're not thinking of the divine much anymore. And then guilt comes in and shame comes in, and they push you even farther away, because thinking of God brings that to the forefront. Because out in that space, you don't have the understanding of grace. You don't have the confidence of relationship with the divine. And so that aversion, that ignorance that we talk about, ignorance steps in. And you start pushing thoughts of God away, because that highlights your guilt, that highlights your inability, that highlights the fact that you're not trying anymore, or you're not trying very hard anymore. And then we get caught. We're stuck right there in the eddy, just spinning around, most of the time in some degree of suffering, some degree of frustration, some degree of meaninglessness, some degree of depression. All of those linger in the mind, because those are all things that arise when the thought of God is pushed away, when trust breaks, when faith is not great enough within. And in the midst of that, all you need to do is stand up and cry the name again. Begin singing the name again. And be conscious that this world is unreal. It's ending. Everything here that you love will vanish. If that's depressing, it's only because you haven't seen the truth behind it yet. Because there's nothing better than for it to vanish and reveal what? Reveal the Divine Mother behind, giggling, laughing, because you're coming home. Brahmo, he asks, is it good to renounce the world? They weren't real big on monasticism and renunciation in the Brahmo Samaj. They very much were, the idea of householder was supreme to them. They didn't like the other idea. So is it good to renounce the world? Master, not for all, All right. So not everyone needs to renounce the world. Those who have not yet come to the end of their enjoyments should not renounce the world. Can one get drunk with 2 annas worth of wine? Brahmo, then should they lead a worldly life? Master, yes, they should try to perform their duties in a detached way. Before you break the jackfruit open, rub your hands with oil so that the sticky milk will not smear them. The maidservant in a rich man's house performs all her duties, but her mind dwells on her home in the country. This is an example of doing duty in a detached way. You should renounce the world only in mind, but a sannyasi, they should renounce the world both inwardly and outwardly. So this notion, of if you're not done with your enjoyments of the world, Thakur doesn't condemn you for that. He doesn't go and yell at you like, you stupid, blah, 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 get together, renounce. He's not like that at all. He's going to walk with you, is walking with you. He's taking the journey with you. But he's saying, be aware of me being on the journey with you. Be aware of the fact that I am walking in your shoes with you. And in that knowledge, see things as they are, because I'm present. Don't be afraid when you learn that your desires have been worthless to you. Don't go into depression when your dreams break, your dreams for worldly success or your dreams for worldly accomplishment or whatever you expect it to be at this age. Don't be defeated by it. Watch it and be courageous because of the presence within you, because that which does last, because that which is permanent, because that which is love itself, the very thing you have sought in everything that you have loved and desired, is within you. And as this outside world falls away, there is no sadness. There's no sadness, because what remains is truth. What remains is beauty. What remains is love and wisdom in this. So the Brahma, what is the meaning of the end of enjoyments? What do you mean by that? The Master, I mean the enjoyment of lust and greed. It is risky to put a typhoid patient in a room where pitchers of water and jugs of pickled tamarind are kept. Most people don't feel any longing for God unless they have once passed through the experience of wealth, name, fame, creature comforts, and the like. That is to say, unless they have seen through these enjoyments, right? Seen what they really are, see what really happens. And blessed is the person who doesn't have to go through all of those, but can see it in the experience of others. If you go and if you're looking for name and fame, you don't even have to look hard. Look at what name and fame has done for the Hollywood elite. Look at their personal lives. Look look at how they manage age. Look at the fear and the desperation of losing all the things that have brought them their name and fame. And the zipping up of plastic surgeries and the dyeing of hairs and the augmentation of body parts and this all of it generated by fear and by desire, which means generated by hunger. So pay attention, look carefully at the things that you desire, look at the people that have the things you desire, and study the quality of their life, the quality of their character, the strength of their well-being, and see for yourself. And if that's not good enough, then perhaps you have to become famous yourself to see that it wasn't the blessing you were hoping for, that it wasn't the love that you were hoping for. Brahmo, who is really bad, man or woman? Well, that's an interesting question. Obviously, it's got to be women. Let's see what happens here. Master, as there are women endowed with Vidya Shakti, so also there are women with Avidya Shakti. A woman endowed with spiritual attributes leads a man to God, but a woman who is the embodiment of delusion makes him forget God and drowns him in the ocean of worldliness. Now, it's interesting, of course, it's the answer we all knew. every that it's not whether you're a man or a woman that makes you good or bad. There's good and bad in both. Quite obvious, but it's interesting here because he does kind of emphasize indirectly here some gender roles because he doesn't go through and say it about the man. He says it about the woman. And then he lays it on the woman, says, say it's the woman that can turn the man to God, or the woman can take the man away from God. And which is an interesting perspective. And I think it's one that the world questions at this point. So we'll see whether we come back to this or not. But it's this notion, regardless of what he means and regardless of gender roles and whatnot's there, still, each one of us has the potential to be Vidya Shakti, the power of God to bring people toward truth, toward love. And that's done by love. That's done by humility and service and compassion. And so you're given a choice to be a person of light or to be a person of confusion. It's up to you. So we do our practice. We love the beloved. We move our curtain of the ego aside so that the world finds that love and they know how to get to that love. This universe is created by the Mahamaya of God. Mahamaya contains both Vidyamaya, the illusion of knowledge, and Avidyamaya, the illusion of ignorance. Right? So the Vidya, light, so those things that are light, Maya that is light is Maya that brings you out of confusion, leads you toward oneness with the beloved. And that's always done through love. Love is the binding cord. We see that in the last prayer of Jesus on this planet. That his, I think it's in Matthew, I think it's in Matthew. But he talks about that this unity, this oneness with God, is achieved through love and maintained by the cord of love that binds us all into one without a second. So this is the ideal, and it's built into Maya. It's built into this experience of life, this experience of the multiplicity. So this world is not necessarily trying to take you away from God. This world is not necessarily trying to take you toward God, but this world can do either. It's up to you in how you use this world, how you use the life that the beloved has given you. Will you go running after the multiplicity, seeking it out and trying to fill yourself with it, and then consequently be led into confusion? Or will you look through it at the divine behind it and understand that everything you desire, everything you find beautiful, everything that you long for is the God behind the veil and not the veil itself. It's not in the objects that become dirt. It's behind them. It's the magic behind them that holds them into their present forms as they dance literally around in front of us, alluring and playing. Through the help of Vidyamaya, one cultivates such virtues as the taste for holy company, knowledge, devotion, love, and renunciation. So these are the fruits of the spirit as such, that this is the vidya, this is the thing, these are the things that lead you toward light. So it's that taste for holy company. You like hanging out with upright people, with people who are taking life seriously and wanting to find the truth behind it. That you want to hang out with them. You want to spend time with them. Those are the people who are your inner circle. You look at the inner circle of the avatars. What kind of people surrounded Jesus? What kind of people surrounded Ramakrishna and Holy Mother? The people they spent their time with, the people that they wanted to know, that they wanted to be intimate with, were all people who had divine yearnings for beautiful things, yearnings for love, yearnings for compassion, forgiveness, grace, integrity, truth, self-control, all of these things. So if you are following the light, you'll gain this taste for holy company, the taste for knowledge, for knowing the truth, that one without a second, for devotion. It really charges your devotion. One of the main inhibitors of devotion is our own guilt and shame about not reaching the light, not doing well enough, right? And that two things happen from that. One, we try to improve, and two, we begin to learn the meaning of grace and time in that circumstance. It's one of the greatest benefits. If you've had a fall, or you're not doing well spiritually, or whatnot, or you're in a particularly bad state, that's the best time to sit down and do your practice, because it will be so hard for you. You will have to think of grace. You will have to back into grace in order to endure a practice in that state. But God will not let you end that practice unfulfilled. He will restore you to your security, to your joy, it being in her presence. And so don't give up. Don't think that because you feel bad, or because you can't feel the presence, or because you're numb inside because you maybe misbehaved, or whatever it might be. Don't let it stop there. Go to grace immediately. Always, 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 always go to grace. That is enough for you. All right? It's not the measure of your life. It's the measure of God's grace that brings us home. It brings out love and renunciation. Avidya Maya consists of the 5 elements. It's materialism. It's believing that objects are real. So Avidya Maya consists of the 5 elements and the objects of the 5 senses: form, flavor, smell, touch, and sound. These make one forget God. So if you believe the objects to be real in this world, if you believe the multiplicity to be real, and you believe that they hold the things that they flicker before you, and you run after them, you will forget God. That's the whole story of the Garden of Eden. You will forget God, and then you'll have to toil all the days of your life for a fulfillment that never comes. You'll save money that you will never have enough of. You'll buy things that you'll never have enough of. You'll search for pleasures that you'll never have enough of. That's Maya. That's believing that the objects are real. Brahmo, if the power of avidya is the cause of ignorance, then why has God created it? Master, that's his play. For fun. The glory of light cannot be appreciated without darkness. Happiness cannot be understood without misery. Knowledge of good is possible because of the knowledge of evil. Further, the mango grows and ripens on account of the covering skin. You throw away the skin when the mango is fully ripe and ready to be eaten. It is possible for a man to attain gradually to the knowledge of Brahman because of the covering of the skin of Maya. Maya, in its aspects of vidya and avidya, may be likened to the skin of the mango. Both are necessary. Right? So this world, the bad in this world, is there to bring out your dress of virtue, to highlight your outfit of holiness. Right? So everything in this universe, and this is one of the most helpful things to me, everything in this universe is there to point you to the truth. When you become aware that you can see all of this change, then necessarily you become aware of the unchanging self within that can see change. When you become aware of all of this constant movement, you see that all of it points to that in you which never changes, never moves, right? And so you can use this world as a constant reminder of that divine beauty within you, that divine image within you. It's all pointing at it. Everything, everywhere is pointing at the qualities of God that are within you. Some of them are matching, love and joy and happiness. They match the image of God, and they remind you of God that way. But even the sadness reminds you of the bliss within, reminds you of the peace within. And that's why it's all there. It's the play, yes. It's the joy of God, yes. But why? Because all of it is conspiring to set you free. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says everybody comes home. Some will come earlier than others, but everybody's coming home. Why? Because this play of God is meant to bring you home. And if you see it correctly, it brings you home much more quickly than it did before, right? So being aware of that is very helpful inside. Knowing that is almost enough. Further, no, I got that. Further, oops, I got that already. Brahmo, sir, is it good to worship God with form, an image of the deity made of clay? Master, you do not accept God with form. That's all right. Right? So it's wonderful how he answers that question, because he goes right to the issue. He's like, you're asking that question not because you want to know which one to believe in. You're asking that question because you believe in the God with no form, and you're fishing an answer from me. But he's saying, he just cuts it off at the pass. He says, look, whether or not it's right or wrong, good or bad is not the point. You believe in God without form. All right, good. Go forward. Wonderful. That is all right. The image is not meant for you. And that's as far as you have to go. If it's not for you, so move on. Don't get in a twist about it. Don't get in an argument about it. Don't think that you, who have seen nothing, have to run out and tell everybody else how it is. You know, that's what he's telling him here. For you, it is good to deepen your feelings toward your own ideal. See, if religious people could get this little piece of information into their hearts, we wouldn't have half the strife. We probably wouldn't even have a tenth of the strife that we have in this world. But religious people all running around saying, I'm the only way, and let me tell you about it, and this is how you should live, and this is how you should do it, and this is what you should think, and this is how you should act. What a pain. What a pain that has become. And what a turnoff for love. What a turnoff for religion that has become, you know, and everybody suffers for it. Even the spiritual, even the ones who are trying to direct traffic are getting frustrated because traffic doesn't want to be directed by them, right? For you, it is good to deepen your feeling toward your own ideal. That's our business. Not whether your neighbors are doing it, not whether the country's doing it, not whether the other country's doing it. Our interest in spiritual life is that within we are reaching for the light, reaching for the divine. That's the best way you can help the world if you're bent on helping the world. The best way you can help the world is be faithful, love God, you know, do your duties as worship, live in the light, and see your beloved in everybody's eyes, and let him take care of it. Your duty is to see him. From the worshipers of the personal God, you should learn their yearning, for instance. See, and so just because you don't believe in what somebody else is believing doesn't mean you shut out their ideals, you shut out their philosophy, their wisdom completely, and keep your eyes focused strongly on your own navel and going forward in your own little way. That's not what he's saying at all. He's saying everybody else's practices that are different from what you believe and think can be helpful to you. You can see good things in those practices that will feed you and nourish you and make you stronger. You know, from the Buddhists, learn their compassion. You know, learn their discipline, the way they sit so nice and straight and strong in their practices and so dedicated to their meditations. Learn that from them. You know, from the Christian, learn their service. Learn their zeal, you know, learn their songs, you know, from the Hindus, learn their integration with life, their whole spirituality and everything that they do, and their holidays and their cooking and their house, and all of these things. Learn that. Bring the religion into your home. Have a shrine there in your own home. Learn that from them. From the Sufis, learn how to dance and love. Learn how to sing in bliss. This is how religion is meant to be. We enjoy and are inspired by everyone and everything. Why? Because it's God. Because it's the beloved. Because it's the one thing you can be attached to. From the worshippers of the personal God, you should learn their yearning. For instance, Sri Krishna's attraction for Radha. You should learn from the worshippers of the personal God their love for their chosen ideal. When the believers of the personal God worship the images of Kali and Durga, with what feeling they cry from the depths of their souls. Oh, mother, how much they love the deity. You should accept that feeling. You don't have to accept the image. Brahmo, well, how does one cultivate the spirit of dispassion? Why don't all attain it? Master, dispassion is not possible unless there is satiety through enjoyment, which means you've tasted enough. You've discerned. It's not that you've tasted enough, because you've never tasted enough unless you're discerning. If you put that discernment in, to the extent that you're discerning, to that extent, that will burn away quickly. If you look closely at the real fruit of your vices and your pleasures and your desires, and you see how for what a short time they satisfy you before they leave you hungry and wanting more, you'll walk away from them. If you discern truthfully and you stay at it with sincerity and earnestness, that falls away quickly. But you have to discern. You have to remind yourself. And when that desire returns again, immediately you're right there with the information that you've gathered from the last time. And you don't panic. You don't get afraid. You don't get nervous. Oh, God, I'm going to fall again. Look, all these thoughts are occurring. I'm out of control. This is terrible. This is terrible. Don't get into that state. That state will make everything else important except what is important. When you feel that thought come and you know that desire or that blinder is arising, just remind yourself of the truth. Look at the mother within and say, Mother, let me stay in this place of discernment. Let me see clearly. Don't let me step out and begin to get confused into thinking this is something that I want, that this is something that I need. Help me remember, right? And then you start the name and you're safe. Dispassion is not possible unless there is satiety through enjoyment. You can easily cajole a small child with candies or toys, but after eating the candies and finishing its play, it cries, I want to go to my mother. Unless you take the child to its mother, it will throw away the toy and scream at the top of its voice. The members of the Brahmo Samaj are opposed to the traditional guru system of Orthodox Hinduism. Therefore, the Brahmo devotee asked the master about it. All right, so just that notion, of finishing with the world. Get finished with it. Pay attention to how it's treating you. Pay attention to the abuse that your quest for enjoyment and fulfillment in this world has brought to you. Look at the people who have lived in particular ways and see the fruit of it in their lives. Learn from everything. Look to everything. When you see something, say, Mother, teach me. Teach me the lesson that is hidden in that for me. And keep that mind pure. Keep that mind undiluted. Right? And so about this guru issue, they didn't like the idea of a guru. And not many people do. We all like the idea of the guru within, but we don't want to do the work so that we can hear the guru within, right? Because that guru within is subtle. That guru within is at perfect peace. That guru within is in perfect stillness. So how will it call you? How will it get your attention? You'll be paying attention to your mind. You'll be paying attention to the noise of your thoughts. You'll be paying attention to all the cacophony of your senses. how will you hear that guru within? How will you ever find the guru within? You see? So initially, until we get that silence within, until we settle down our mind and find our shrine within, until we find the heart that sings the name of God, we're not ready to hear the inner guru. So we need a coach. We need a coach to get us to that place. And so we find a guru. And if you don't have a guru and you want a guru, just pray. Just put it up to Mother. The universe will provide the teacher when the time is right. Don't stress about it. Don't stress about it. Brahmo, is spiritual knowledge impossible without a guru? Master, Satchit Ananda alone is the guru. Yes, indeed. This inner guru is the only guru in truth. If a man in the form of a guru awakens spiritual consciousness in you, then know for certain that it is God, the Absolute, who has assumed that human form for your sake. Right. That's cool. That's a cool thing. If a man in the form of a guru awakens spiritual consciousness in you, right? What? Then know for certain. He's not proposing something here. He's teaching you directly here. Know for certain that it is God, the Absolute, who has assumed that human form for you, for your sake. So if you do find somebody who has taught you or awakened you or shown you something beautiful that you can never forget, know for certain God has visited you. God has taken a form and come to you. The guru is like a companion who leads you by the hand. After the realization of God, one loses this distinction between the guru and the disciple. That creates a very difficult situation. There, the guru and the disciple do not see each other. It was for this reason that Janaka said to Shukadeva, "Give me first my teacher's fee if you want me to initiate you into the knowledge of Brahman." For the distinction between the teacher and the disciple ceases to exist after the disciple attains to Brahman. The relationship between them remains as long as the disciple does not see God. Right? Once you've seen God, you know that God has been everywhere, that all of these different things, objects, places, tastes, smells, were nothing but the beloved. And all of them were teaching you. All of them were nurturing you. All of them were your guru. But you didn't see them that way. So you didn't listen to them that way. And you didn't hear the teachings that way. And confusion sets in, and you hear weird teachings. You let the senses begin to teach you. Oh, cookies. I need cookies. I love cookies. Oh, pleasure. I love pleasure. I need pleasure. If you don't know the guru as the divine self within, then you'll take the mind and you'll take the senses as your teacher. And of that is born confusion. Deep confusion. But find the divine within, find the presence of the beloved within, and then look at everything from that perspective, and it will bring you home. It will nurture you, and it will deliver you to the feet of your mother. It was dusk. Some of the Brahmo devotees said to the master, "Perhaps it is time for your evening devotions." Master, no, it isn't exactly that. One should pass through these disciplines in the beginning. Later, one doesn't need the rituals of formal worship or to follow the injunctions. After dusk, the preacher of the Brahmo Samaj conducted the service from the pulpit. The service was interspersed with recitations from the Upanishads and the singing of Brahmo songs. After the service, the master and the preacher conversed. Master, well, it seems to me that both the formless deity and the God with form are real. What do you say? Preacher, sir, I compare the formless God to the electric current, which is not seen with the eyes, but can be felt. Master, yes, both are true. God with form is as real as God without form. And this is one of the things I really like to make sure that the bhaktas know when they study Jnana Yoga. Don't let the Jnana Yoga undo your devotion to your chosen ideal, to the presence of God, because it doesn't negate it. Thakur is saying they are both true. God with form and God without form are equally real. And we see that in the fact that the master had both his Advaita realization, that one without a second, where everything else but God is unreal, and at the same time, he could see the Divine Mother, he could see Shiva. He had the vision of Jesus, the vision of Buddha, the vision of Maya, actually, all of these things. And so don't feel that the path of jnana somehow disassembles devotion. Don't think, God is unreal. He's just a help. He's just a fantasy for me to depend on until I come to my realization. No, that's not the case. He is real in whatever form she expresses herself or manifests herself to you. And by following that, she will lead you to the formless, if that is the way it's going to be. Or she'll lead you to a place, to a loka, where you can spend your eternity in the bliss of the company of your divine beloved. But both are true, and both are real, and both are valid, and both are mature. Do you know that what describing God as being formless only is like? It's like a man playing only a monotone on his flute, though it has 7 holes. But on the same instrument, another man plays different melodies. Likewise, in how many ways the believers in a personal God enjoy him. They enjoy him through many different attitudes: the serene attitude, the attitude of a servant, the attitude of a friend, a mother, a husband, or a lover. You see, the thing is, somehow or other, to get into the lake of the nectar of immortality. That's a wonderful way to talk about our effort. In any way that you can, get into that lake, get into that water of immortality. Suppose one person gets into it by propitiating the deity with hymns and worship, and you are pushed into it. The result will be the same. Both of you will certainly become immortal. Yeah, so this, me, I can't help but thinking, in the Garden of Eden, which is within you, literally within you, that there were 2 trees there. There was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which was the potential for egoism. And we developed that egoism when we went through the senses, like Eve, where she looked at the object of desire and said, oh, look, that's beautiful. It looks like it'll be good for food. I'm sure that it will give me what I'm looking for. And she took it and ate it. And that produced ego, a separation from the divine. And that's how she got exited from the garden. So for you, take the warning. If you go through your senses and create your desires that way, create your goals and your aspirations from your senses, from what you're seeing, tasting, touching, smelling, or hearing, know for certain that you are exiting the paradise within, right? But instead, we have to conquer that desire. We have to discern that desire so that starve that ego, take that control away from egoism, so that the gate to the Garden of Eden, so that the gate to paradise opens again for you after the conquest of desire. And when you go back within, when we return within, right, and we find that beauty, we find God waiting for us there. Then we find the tree of immortality, the second tree in the Garden of Eden, the one that God has to protect us from as long as we're deluded. Because if we eat the fruit of immortality without curing ourselves of desire, then the curse becomes permanent. The curse becomes eternal. The hunger becomes eternal. So this tree of immortality that lies within you is protected by the flaming sword of desire. And you have to conquer that desire before you can know or understand your immortality, your freedom, until it becomes, at that point, it will become real to you that you have never been born and that indeed you will never die. I give the Brahmos the illustration of water and ice. Satchitananda is like an endless expanse of water. The water of the great ocean in cold regions freezes into blocks of ice. Similarly, through the cooling influence of divine love, Satchitananda assumes forms for the sake of the bhaktas. So it is your love for God that decides his form for you, right? That decides God's form for you. He will appear to you as the representation of your highest ideal of pure love. The rishis had the vision of the supersensuous spirit form and talked with it, but devotees acquire a love body, and with its help, they see the spirit form of the Absolute. It is also said in the Vedas that Brahman is beyond mind and words, all right? That's where we get that from, right there from the Vedas. The Brahman is beyond mind, so you won't find him in your mind. We say that again and again because sometimes we get a little bit too focused on relational knowledge, thinking that if we learn something, we're going to see God. But that's not the way that it works. God is beyond that mind, all of your arrangement of facts and relationships and words. The heat of the sun of knowledge melts the ice-like form of the personal God. On attaining the knowledge of Brahman and communing with it in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, one realizes Brahman, the infinite, without form, without shape, beyond mind, beyond words. The nature of Brahman cannot be described. It is not of your senses. It can't be described as that funny little happy feeling that you get when you have a good meditation. You know, we can enjoy that, but it's not the thing. Keep your eyes inward. Don't be fooled. The nature of Brahman cannot be described. About it, one remains silent. Who can explain the infinite in words? However high a bird may soar, there are regions still higher. What do you say? He's giving us the reason there, this illustration of no matter how high the bird flies, it can still always fly higher. He's giving you the whole reason that you can't find the fulfillment in the senses, you know, because no matter how far into your desires you go, there will always be more desires ahead. It's an endless cycle to go into the world to try and find answers and fulfillment. Preacher, yes, sir. It is so stated in the Vedanta philosophy. Master, once a salt doll went to the ocean to measure its depth, but it could not come back to give a report. According to one school of thought, sages like Shukadeva saw and touched the ocean of Brahman, but they did not plunge into it. Once I said to Vidyasagar, everything else but Brahman has been polluted, as it were, like food touched by the tongue. In other words, no one has been able to describe what Brahman is. A thing once uttered by the tongue becomes polluted. Vidyasagar, great pundit though he was highly pleased with my remarks. It is said that there are places near Kedar that are covered with eternal snow. He who climbs too high cannot come back. Those who have tried to find out what there is in the higher regions, or what one feels there, have not come back to tell us about it. After having the vision of God, man is overpowered with bliss. There's something to look forward to. This after having the vision of God, you're overpowered with bliss. He becomes silent. Who will speak? Who will explain? Right? The king lives beyond 7 gates. At each gate sits a man endowed with great power and glory. At each gate, the visitor asks, "Is this the king?" The gatekeeper answers, "No, not this, not this." The visitor passes through the 7th gate and becomes overpowered with joy. He is speechless. This time, he doesn't have to ask, "Is this the king?" The mere sight of him removes all doubt. So when you realize you will know it, that bliss will overwhelm you. There will be no doubt that you have touched the goal, the beloved, the divine, and you have become a seer. So we'll stop there for tonight.